How do most personal injury lawyers get paid when they handle your case? I'm John Griffith at Griffith Law, and I do nothing but personal injury cases, and our cases are handled on a contingency basis. Contingency simply means it's a percentage of our recovery. And it's a really good system, in my opinion, because it does two things. Number one, I always say that we've got skin in the game, because if we don't win your case, then we don't get paid anything. We don't get our expenses or our fees paid back. And it's a motivation to get your case done in the most efficient way possible, because we're not paid by the hour and we're not doing miscellaneous things that are a waste of time just to run up a bill. So I think the contingency system is a great way to handle cases. And also, a lot of clients would not be able to afford their lawyer if they had to pay an hourly rate. What is a potential fee percentage? A standard fee is somewhere around 33 1/3 or 35%. Some firms I see now are charging right out of the gate 40%. And our fee is adjustable in the fact that if a case goes to trial, our fee is 33 1/3, but if the case goes to trial, it goes up to 40%. And the reason for that is going to trial is significant more work. I usually don't see my family for a week at least if I go to trial. It's 18-hour days, and you just got to do everything we can to present your case in the very best way. Fortunately, most of the time we go to trial, the results are so much better than settling your case. That extra 6% or so is minuscule in relation to your increased take-home due to a larger verdict. I always tell my lawyers, you can never settle your case for what a jury might give you at trial. There is no way that insurance companies would have paid my clients what we got at trial, ultimately in that case. So lawyers, defense lawyers, insurance lawyers evaluate cases much differently than normal people sitting in a jury box. So, what are some red flags about a personal injury lawyer? Well, a big red flag is if a lawyer makes you pay your own expenses. That is a red flag. That lawyer is probably hurting for money. They are not capable of running this case the full distance. I would just be on guard about that. I would be wary of that. We pay all of our expenses. We've got millions of dollars out in client expenses. We hope to get every bit of that back, and we do get it back when we settle the case. We keep up with each expense. I would also, another red flag, if a lawyer does a little bit of everything, if they're what I call a jack of all trades, if they do real estate, criminal, probate, we also do personal injury, that is somebody you really want to look out for. Not that they can't do a decent job in your case, but those are the types of cases that I've taken over from people who started with lawyers like that, who've gotten their cases in very, very bad shape. I don't do divorce work. I don't do criminal work because I'm not good at that. I'm good and great at personal injury law because that's all I do. I know all the updated case law. I know the updated statutes. I know all the local rules that are in regard to personal injury claims. And this is what we do. So I would rather be an expert in that field than a jack of all trades. Is a lawyer worth their fee? The short answer is they should be, but there are some instances where you may not need a lawyer. And I help people settle their claims all the time. I wrote the book. You can get it in the description below. The 10 worst mistakes people make after their Tennessee car crash case. If you treat for a very short time and there's nothing unusual like no DUI by the other driver that hit you, and you only treat for 4 or 8 weeks and you're totally better, in those cases, I would encourage people to handle their case themselves. You're not going to do great. Those cases aren't worth a lot of money, but it might be relatively good either way that you go with a lawyer or without a lawyer. I always say the juice is not worth the squeeze. It's not worth it for you, not worth it for me. So I would rather help you and have your respect than take your case and drag it out for 6 months because I can't get an insurance company to pay a lot of money at first on your relatively low damages claim. But if you have a permanent injury, doesn't mean you have a surgery, but if you have a permanent injury, I can tell you that we can always bring value to your case. We can increase your net take home significantly. Why is that? Because insurance companies never consider permanent injury. They will say they do, but they really don't. They think once you get that settlement check, you run off to the bank, you're never going to the doctor again, you're good to go. So they don't value that. You can have a whiplash claim and have a permanent injury. A permanent injury is usually defined as a chronic injury that lasts 6 months or longer with the same pain. So that's just something you need to know and evaluate. It doesn't have to be a catastrophic injury. We've gotten $200,000, $300,000 verdicts on soft tissue injuries because they're permanent for the rest of their life. Some lawyers charge 40% straight off the top, and you may want to consider going to a different attorney for a car wreck case, especially if they're charging in their contract 40%. That, for example, if you have a case that's worth $100,000 and it's a limits case, so lots of times we settle cases for policy limits of $100,000. Our fee is a third, and a lot of lawyers for that same case will charge 40%. What does that cost you? That costs you $6,000 out of your pocket. And so attorneys who charge that right off the top without going to trial, you may want to consider looking around. Another thing that's a red flag for attorneys is attorneys who in their contract say that if you have a disagreement with them, or if you sue them, or if they mess up, that you waive your right to a jury trial and you agree to go to arbitration. I've seen some contracts from large advertising law firms who say, we're charging 40%, and by the way, if we screw up, then you can't sue us. You're going to have to go to arbitration. Arbitration is not good, and I think it's very hypocritical for lawyers to do this. These are the same people saying, oh, you've been in a car wreck, you deserve the right to a jury trial if we can't fight the insurance company, or you've been hurt by a doctor and you need to have the right to a jury trial. These are the same lawyers who are saying in their contract, but if we screw up, you have to go to arbitration. And what's wrong with arbitration? Arbitration can be more costly. It makes it very hard to sue them. They want you to go to arbitration because arbitration is usually much more limiting in damages reimbursement to people like you who've been hurt or screwed over by their lawyers. So if your attorney has in their clause an arbitration provision, you need to look at that as a huge red flag, or you need to just ask them to take it out. So these are some things to think about in selection of your attorney. I'm John Griffith at Griffith Law. If we can help you, please call us. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get those answered. Thank you.